Hello, hobby friends, and welcome to today's episode of Hobby Talk. My name is David Baez, and in today's episode, we are going to talk about my favorite hobby, unopened sports cards. Today's guest has one of the finest collections of vintage graded unopened packs in the hobby. Here to talk to us more about the hobby and about his collection is Jason Weil. Jason, welcome to Hobby Talk. What's up, buddy?
Oh, thank you. Glad to be here. I've been watching your other episodes and glad to be part of the Hobby Network.
All right, part of the madness. I love it. Well, I always like to start off, Jason, with learning more about my guests as a from the collecting side, their beginnings, if you will. So, tell me how you began in the hobby, and what did you collect early on, and why?
Well, I rode the school bus to school from kindergarten to sixth grade, and I did a lot of trading of baseball cards on the way to school. So I was a third grader that collected baseball cards, and I remember when I hit 10,000 cards in my collection as a third grader. I thought that was pretty cool. But
That's very cool.
I started collecting. I didn't have, my parents had no experience in collecting, and I just started collecting complete sets and putting together sets. I put together sets when I was in high school from 1970 to 75 by hand from my local card shop, which was a lot of fun to do. And I even collected a lot of unopened then. I had multiple unopened boxes of 81 through 87 was kind of when I was collecting, and I had unopened cases in 87. I had about 10 unopened cases at one time, but I just collected sets. I tried to get every set every year, and so that's really kind of how I got started, was just accumulating and enjoying the hobby.
Very, very cool. Yeah, and your 80s too. That's right, my wheelhouse. That's what got me started. So tell me a little bit about your transition then into collecting unopened. Like what was the trigger point? What, and what's your main focus and why?
Well, I was collecting complete sets for a while in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I had every complete set: Topps, Bowman, Fleer, Kellogg's, Redman, from 48 to 93.
Wow.
And I had them all.
Wow.
And I finally decided to sell those in about 2004, and sold them through a big auction house. And I kind of dabbled in other things from 2004 until I really decided to jump into the unopened thing. I put together the number one PSA registry set for 500 home run tickets, 3,000 hit tickets. I did all of those things, and I really didn't want to get into collecting cards per se again, but I always thought it'd be very cool to collect little pieces of artwork. And that's what packs are. I mean, each one is its own unique animal. And I knew that if I ever decided to start doing it, it would be a beast. and I
sure is.
And it would be something that I would go at full force, because I don't do anything halfway. So I kind of put off tackling that project because it was such a big project. And then finally in 2011, I bought my first unopened graded pack, PSA graded pack. And it was over from there.
Oh man, that's funny. It's a very similar ending to everyone's story. It's like, I bought this first pack and the rest is history.
Yeah.
It once it grabs you, forget it. I have a couple friends of mine that I've lured into the unopened hobby, and let me just tell you that same thing. Now they're like sending me links, like, what do you think of this one? Should I get this one? Should I add this one to my collection?
Yeah.
And to your point, I love the way you mentioned it earlier about the piece of art, because I've always used the term pieces of history, and I think that was my personal lure to unopened. The story about the pack and how it's just survived the journey, if you will, of never being opened. Part of it too is like some of the years that my father collected as a child. I was like, how cool would it have been to be going to to go to that corner store and taking out your 10 cents or your whatever the value of the pack was at the time, and buying that pack and ripping it open right on the stoop with your friends. There's just so much to it. I kind of put myself in that moment, and that's, I think, what really, really attracts me to Unopened is I really see it as art and as history.
Yeah, I agree. And when I first started, I thought, well, I'm just going to collect baseball wax. That's what I'm going to do. And so I started doing that, and you start looking at the PSA population report, and then I found out about the registry, and the registry really helped me keep focused on what I was really going after. Because
Yeah.
as most people that collect know, if you don't, you end up with a house full of stuff. And I didn't really want that. But the nice thing about collecting packs is if you want to get one from each year, that's great. You don't have to have 50 from each year, or you don't have to have 792 like a 1982 top set where you've got to have all of these cards to complete one thing.
Yeah.
With collecting packs, you can it's not such a daunting task unless you try to do it in a really, really big way.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I focus mostly on 78. I don't know if you've heard me mention it before, but to your point, I think you can kind of package your focus in the unopened world. I think in certain way, like where it could be on years, on formats, if you're into racks or just cellos. Like I'm mostly into cellos, so like I think that being able to customize helps a lot. And then the registry, of course, is a big bonus to kind of keep you grounded, as you well put it before. So yeah. So let me ask you this, Jason, on the current items in your collection, what was the most difficult item for you to obtain and why?
Oh, there's a couple packs that were a challenge to get my hands on. The first one that I got was a 1958 Topps baseball wax pack.
Whoa.
Nickel pack. And I brought it here. I'll show you a picture.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And this is a monster pack. So let's see if I can
what a beauty.
get it so you can see it.
Yeah.
And
that's a beauty.
That's a 58 nickel pack. And according to the PSA population, there's 2 8s and a 9. Well, the 9's not really a nickel pack; it's a penny pack. It's incorrect in the population. So there's only 2 of these nickel packs. It's super low population. And I think the last one of these that actually sold at auction brought 25,000, I think. So this is a pretty good pack. And, yeah. So that was one that I bought. I probably bought it 6 years ago, and I was lucky enough to get it bought before it just exploded.
I love that wrapper too. That is
it's cool. It's really cool because I'll show you this. This is kind of interesting. So here's the penny pack, and here's the nickel pack.
Okay.
58. So you get both. But yeah, they're beautiful. Like I said, they're little pieces of artwork.
Yeah, they sure are.
Some designer sat in a cubicle and at Topps and created these and didn't know that someday they'd be making pieces of art.
Yeah.
But and then another one that I knew it existed, and I knew who owned it, and he was gracious enough a year ago at the National to offer it to me. And I had to pony up. So, but it was well worth it. And I posted this before, but this is one that I always thought would be cool and it'd look great in my collection, and it does. So, and it's a 1952 Topps penny pack, and it's the only one ever graded.
Oh, my Lord.
So that's a pretty darn good pack.
Oh, yeah.
And it goes real good with my nickel. So
you're killing me, Jason.
yeah, it goes on and on. So,
oh, my Lord. That is amazing.
Those 2 were 2 that I'm glad I have them in my collection. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And I really like them.
Before we move on to the next question, you just sparked something I wanted to share with you or get your thoughts on is, what makes unopened collectors like us, in terms of the challenges, rather, what makes it even more challenging is what I meant to say, is the fact that in our world, the supply declines. The population of the cards may go up, but our population goes down. And it makes it even harder because if you have XYZ pack ripper ripping open a 60-something cello, it's not exactly like PSA is getting updated in many cases that this pack was just snipped, ripped live. So we may see a pop report of 7 on a pack, but in actuality, it might be 3, right? It might be 2, it might be 5. We don't know.
Correct. One great example of that is 1955. I have it here somewhere. This is a great example of that exact thing. Here it is. 1955 Topps All-American football pack, cello pack.
Wow.
Now, there was a guy in California whose dad had a complete box of these, and they got them graded, and then they ripped them open and tore them open. So it might show in the population that there's 9 9s, but there might not be any 9s because they got them torn open. And
right.
So this one happens to be an 8, and I bought it from that guy. But that's one that when they rip open a pack, it obviously makes the packs that we currently hold and aren't cracked open worth more money, and more valuable and more scarce. And so I remember at the National a couple of years ago, they ripped open that 1955 Bowman pack, and it about made me sick because that pack should have been in my collection. I'd never seen it before, but they ripped it open and it's gone. It's gone forever.
I know. That's the topic, or that's, with Kurt, I've interviewed him twice. We're definitely hobby friends, and we've talked quite a bit about this very topic. And I've always commended him on the fact that he's been able to find that fine line of being able to rips. There is an element of fun to ripping, and he does these great breaks and all that. But once he realizes he's kind of passing that line where this product is becoming difficult to source, he pretty much hits the pause. Even though he has the supply, he's like, no, this is it. Let's move on to something else. And I wish that would happen in the world of extreme vintage, like those beauties that you just showed. But unfortunately, it's just not the case. I get there's a whole group that enjoys that piece of it as well. But when you realize, hey, the population's 3 on this item, is it really worth it to rip that thing open? Or is it better to keep this piece of history the way it is? Yeah. So, it's I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm just tainted because I'm an unopened guy, but I don't get it personally. I don't think I ever will. So I'm glad me and you are on the same page, though.
Yeah. My wife asked me, she says, I don't know how you can't keep from tearing them open. I say, stay out of my office.
Mike Cerenzio said it best in one of the episodes. He goes, one of the reasons that many hobbyists get their packs and cellos encapsulated is so that when they have a few drinks in them, they don't get inspired to crack it open. It's pretty hard to get that pack out of that slab.
Oh yeah, I have no desire to crack open a pack. I don't mind if somebody else wants to, but I don't. My goal as a collector in what we're doing with Unopened is to put together the best runs of packs that I can possibly put together.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I started with really Topps baseball and got a long way to completing that. In fact, one of them I completed 1951 through 1999, and it a couple years ago it's the only unopened pack set in the PSA Hall of Fame. So that's a pretty cool deal that was in there. But then I decided, well, maybe I should do football, and maybe I should do basketball, and maybe I should do hockey. I know nothing about hockey, but I like to collect, and so
and they have some pretty cool looking packs.
Sure. And then there's O-Pee-Chee hockey and O-Pee-Chee baseball, and then there's there's something called cello packs. So I got sucked into that. And
Yeah.
so eventually, like I said, I started in 2011. And as of right now, I think I have 60 number one sets on the PSA registry. So, and in all four sports. So
Awesome.
that's my thing, is trying to get the best version I can. And I don't have two of anything. So I don't have, if I have a pack that's an 8 and I find a 9, I buy the 9 if I can, and I sell my 8.
Yeah.
So I just
Yeah.
have one. And so right now in my collection, I have about 600 different packs that are
Amazing.
all single. So, and that would be all four sports, and then a few other things. I've got a few golf packs and some Redman packs and some Kellogg's cereal packs and things like
Yeah.
that. So,
How about Alf? No.
no, I hear those are being hoarded in Iowa.
Yeah. And California.
Northern California.
Northern California. Oh, too funny. Yeah, when you said 600, I immediately, just the first thing that comes to mind, Jason, is wow, we're gonna have to do another episode down the road.
Yeah, it's a
But
lot.
yeah, so let me ask you this, and I've seen some beauties that you've shared with us already. Are there any other items you'd like to share with us now on this particular episode?
Sure. So
All right.
I went through a lot of my packs, and I know there's a lot of people that watch these that like different things. And so I kind of pulled some different things out for those basketball people out there. I'll show you some of my favorite basketball packs.
Cool.
1961 Fleer in an 8. So that's
Wow.
a tough pack, and those are getting super expensive. So like that pack. 1980 Tops, which has gone crazy with the Bird Irving. So I have a 10, PSA 10.
You have a 10. Wow.
Oh yeah, there's only 2 of them, so
Yeah.
I have one of them. Another one that's gone crazy lately is 87 Fleer basketball. That's just gone crazy, and I have a 10 in that.
Very nice.
And then the last one, which is crazy, there's been 1,700 of these graded, and there's only 4 10s, and this is one of them. So this is the 86 Fleer.
Oh
in a 10.
my.
So, and I don't know for sure, but I'm going to say that Jordan's on top, even though I know
Oh, that's too funny.
he's not.
I'll tell you what, if you see Lane Beer or Kellogg there, you're in good shape.
I already asked Timmer.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I actually interviewed Timmer a couple of weeks ago.
I saw it. I watched it. So, but for the baseball guys out there, here's some of my favorite baseball ones. You've seen the 58s, which I showed.
Yep.
There's 2. And here's a couple others that you don't see. One of these just popped up on eBay. It's on eBay right now. Super rare. 1953 Topps nickel pack. So
wow.
this is the highest graded. There's 2 in this grade. Another person in our Facebook page owns the other one, and then there's one on eBay right now that's graded one less than this, and they've got it on eBay for $45,000. So
oh my, I've never seen. That was the first time I've ever seen one. To be honest with you,
very hard to find. That's one of the first packs I ever bought. So in 2011. And here's another one you just don't see them, is 54 Topps, 1954 Topps nickel pack.
Yeah.
So that's a toughie to find as well. So,
yeah.
So there's some good baseball ones. I know there's some hockey lovers out there. So here's some hockey ones that I pulled. 1968 Topps hockey in a 9. So that's a toughie. 71 Topps hockey in a 10.
Wow, in a 10.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
That's a tough one. Just picked this one up recently. 72 Series 3 OPC hockey in a 9. It's only 9.
Is there
That's a cool
for
one.
Series 3? Is there a key name or names for that third series?
There probably is, but I'm not a hockey guy,
Yeah,
so I
I'm like,
don't really know.
yeah, okay.
And then here's two. These are pretty cool. Um, if you like Gretzky, which everybody does, here's a 79 tops Gretzky in a 9, which is the highest graded.
Wow.
And then here's its counterpart, the O-Pee-Chee in a 10.
Well,
So
Peachy anything 10 is like
yes,
impossible.
that's a tough pack. There's there's
Yeah,
there's probably 10 of them out there now, but still try to find one. They're really hard.
yeah.
Um, so let's see here. I know there's some O-Pee-Chee baseball guys out there. I know you interviewed Mark, but I think so. Here's a 66 O-Pee-Chee wax in an 8, a 67 O-Pee-Chee wax in a 9.
Wow, 67's a rough.
Yeah, 68 O-Pee-Chee. There's only 2 of these ever found, so that's in an 8. That's a great looking pack.
Yeah, that is cool. I've never seen that one.
Yeah, and then this one, there's only one of these in this grade. 71 O-Pee-Chee in a 10.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's a great one.
I love that 71 wax.
Oh, yeah.
I own a
Yeah.
71 tops. And that's one of my favorite packs.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, what else? For the Bowman baseball guys out there, a couple cool ones. 1950 Bowman pack. There's only a couple of those graded. And then this one's really good. A 52 Bowman in a 9.
Wow.
So, yeah, I got that one bought right at the right time. The last one that sold at auction in a 9 brought 20,000. So, yeah, those are
Yeah,
crazy.
you bring up a good point too. I mean, some of this is timing as well, right? Because
Yes.
these cards, I mean, these packs have gone up exponentially in the last few years.
Yeah, it's crazy how much they've gone up. And it's interesting, even some of the new stuff, I don't know if it's actually selling, but I know it's being listed for sale at just crazy high prices. I mean,
Yeah.
even newer packs that are bringing $700-800. Anything with LeBron is just crazy high.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not like they're low population. There's population out there that just bringing a lot of money. So,
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I mean, I've always been gun shy to put big bucks into anything that has a high pop, whether it's cards or packs.
mm-hmm.
But to your point, there's just, I don't know if it's a bubble, hopefully not, but I almost feel like that, there's a bubble brewing in the world of modern and these high pop packs in particular, because I mean, if there's 200 available, that's a decent amount, so anyway, neither here nor there. I mean, there's definitely a base because the price is there. So
Yeah. Well, the old dealers back in the day used to always say, buy vintage, buy vintage, buy vintage. They
yeah,
always said that. But now, you see these Trout cards bringing $2 million and things. That's crazy money. But
yeah,
vintage is they're not making any more.
yeah,
So, that's what
yeah.
happens. But
It's interesting that the top 5 cards, not to get off the rails here, but the top 5, 3 of the top 5 are modern cards, and the
yeah,
all time prices, and
yeah,
and 3 of them were this year. The prices.
I know. And it's almost, um, it's they're creating scarcity is what they're doing. They're creating a one-of-one, putting it in their pack, selling it. All of a sudden their stuff's worth all this money, and I don't know, it almost seems fake. But
I'm definitely concerned, but I mean, I'm definitely not the well-versed modern guy, but it's certainly, maybe I'm just an old soul, but if I'm going to put that into anything, it would be basically everything you just showed right now on the screen. It would be vintage and unopened vintage, and even slabs, of key players like the Mantles and for me Clemente and some of the other big guys.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
but
Agreed. So, but I've got a few other packs I'll show you real quick.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
These are interesting. 1952 Bowman football. There's a large and a small version. See if I can figure out where my camera is. Here's the small version in a 9.
All right.
And here's the large version in a 6. And
Is that a nickel pack?
That's a nickel pack.
Okay.
So that's a great one to have.
Very cool.
And then the same thing with here's a 54 Bowman football penny pack in a 9. And here's the 54 nickel pack in a 9. So
I love the colors.
Yeah, these are so cool looking. And then here's some other really nice ones that I just picked up. Here's a 57 Topps football, one that actually made it into a PSA case because they're too wide. They won't fit in the case.
Yeah. I was gonna say some of those they purposely don't do it. That's amazing. You were able to get that one slabbed.
Yeah, and this one's the highest graded in a 7. So I have a nicer one, but I can't get it slabbed because it's too wide. And then here's a real nice 1957 Topps football in a 9. So that's a great looking pack. So frustrating thing about wax packs is the sliding gum and tearing holes in the sides of the pack. Boy, that's frustrating when you get those.
Yeah.
But then here's another football. This is one I just picked up, a 1958 Topps nickel pack. So there's only 5 or 6 of these in existence. So that's a great pack. 5 or 6 graded in existence. I know there's a full box out there.
Right.
So, but
full box. Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty pricey.
I could only imagine. Yeah.
It just changed hands here not very long ago, and a friend of mine sold it to another friend of mine, and so it brought a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Very cool stuff. Thanks so much for sharing those, Jason. And I mean, part of me loves looking at other folks' collections like yours, and then I look back at my collection and say I have a lot of work still left to do.
Well, the fun is in the chase, the fun is going out there and finding it, and
very true.
That's the enjoyable part about collecting is collecting.
Yeah.
So
no, I mean, I joke around. And I mean this sincerely. I love one of the coolest parts of this channel I put together just 2 short months ago is being able to not only share the stories with my fellow hobbyists, but to see their awesome collections up close and personal, and to kind of just understand, what led them to getting these particular cards or these particular packs. So very, very cool stuff. And I appreciate you sharing that with us. So let's do this, Jason. Let's let's wrap things up here with some fun questions, kind of to end things. Are you up for it?
Sure.
All right. So, and I always say this question is definitely hard and stressful. I mean, at least for me, if you had to give up your entire collection and, except for one item, what would it be and why?
That's hard because sometimes I think.
Would you like to phone a friend, Jason?
There's nothing that I have to keep. But I have a few things. I mean, the sets that I built when I was a kid, 70 to 75. I still have them, and those are pretty cool. But I did think about one when I was in college. I was a broke student, and I think it might have been my junior or senior year in college. I went to the local card shop. I went to Kansas State University, so I was in Manhattan, Kansas. And I went down to the local card shop, and they had a card there that I didn't have. And I'm like, man, I would like to buy one of those. So I bought it. I hauled it around with me for 20 years, more than that, and then finally sent it in and had it graded. And so this is probably one that I would keep. It'd probably be one of the last things because it's kind of cool story, and I like it. So it's a Michael Jordan rookie card in a 7.
Wow.
So, I bought it at the local card shop, and I carried it around with me for 20 some years until I sent it in and had it graded. So that is really cool. Yeah. I mean, I've owned a nicer one than this. I had a complete set in 8s at one time, but I sold them. But this one's kind of a cool story because it's one that I found, and it's fun, so.
You were talking about before the chase, the hunt. I mean, the fact that you got you got that when you were a kid. That's amazing. That's cool.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Probably that. So.
All right, that's a very good one. So, last question for you, buddy, is what's one hobby that you're currently not involved in, but are keen to start knowing more about and why?
I think it's within the same hobby, and it's something that I've always been interested in. But like I said, if I ever decided to do it, I wouldn't be able to stop. So I just watch and enjoy it from afar. Is it would be nice to have unopened, not even unopened, boxes of all of these packs that I have. Like a 53 tops box, empty. I don't want it full. I'd like it full, but just to have a display box and have a
Okay.
display box of everything from 51 up to, I don't know, into the 80s or something. That'd be
Yeah.
pretty cool to have that. And I know there's a couple collectors on our Facebook page that have that. And I've always thought that's really cool.
Yeah.
And I always look at them and think, man, that'd be so cool to have that'd make a great display.
Yeah.
Just to show all the boxes, these packs came from a box just like this at Woolworths or
Yeah.
or wherever, TG&Y, or wherever you got your stuff when you're a kid.
Right.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool, actually. Yeah, and to your point, I know a few folks that do add that into their collection, and their display rather, and it does look very nice. So,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you'll get some PMs after this interview.
Don't get me started on it.
Look what I started.
Yeah, my wife already thinks I'm crazy.
That's probably one thing we all have in common.
Yeah,
At one of these future nationals, we'll have a beer and we'll talk about that one.
So yeah, one of my favorite sayings is, I hope when I pass away, when my wife sells my stuff, she doesn't sell it for what I told her I paid for it.
So true. Oh, that's great. That is great.
So, the National's great. I've been to the last, I don't know, 12 of them, I think. And
Yeah.
I take my boys my boys are 20 and 17, and I take them with me, and we just go and make a trip out of it and have a great time. And
That's great.
it's a lot of fun. And if you've never been, it's a good time, and it's a great time to meet people like yourself and some other people that are on the Facebook page. I've met them at their show, and it's nice to put a face with the name. And
yeah, I tell you what, Jason, it's so, like, for me, it's bittersweet. I guess sweet in the sense I was able to start this channel as a result of COVID, but because I was heavy traveling, for my 9 to 5, and now that I'm not, I have the time to do this. But bitter in the sense that I have never been to a national, and my first planned, I mean, I was ready to go, was for this Atlantic City one this year that was canceled. So, and of course, I was really looking forward to meeting a lot of you folks there and just gabbing it up about the hobby. So, soon enough that'll happen. And in this case, now that I've started this, I might have to bring my camera with me for some behind the scenes footage.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Jason, with that being said, I just want to thank you for this. This was great. I hope we can do this again down the road at some point.
Sure.
And yeah, appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right. You have a good one.
All right. You too.
Hey guys, thanks for watching today's video. Please click on the like and subscribe button. Just a couple quick updates. We are officially live on iTunes, Google, as well as Spotify for our podcast. Go to HobbyNetworkGroup.com for more details and links. Thanks for watching today's video and have a great day. Bye.